Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? As we gather here this evening, I would like to kindly remind everyone to please adhere to all published health precautions. This includes distancing as appropriate, no more than 6 cadets per table, and the continuous wear of masks except while actively eating or drinking. The banquet will begin momentarily. Good evening. I'm Cadet Zachary Calderon, Vice President of the Class of 2021, and your Master of Ceremonies for this evening. Welcome to the 100th Night Banquet for the Class of 2021. Let me begin by introducing you to our official party. The class of 2021 is honored to welcome our guest speaker and his spouse, Command Sgt. Major Michael A. Crosby and Mrs. Crosby, the Superintendent of the United States Military Academy, Lieutenant General Darrell A. Williams, Jr., the Command Sergeant Major of the United States Military Academy, Command Sergeant Major Michael Coffey, the Commandant of the United States Corps of Cadets, Brigadier General Curtis Buzzard, the Command Sergeant Major of the United States Corps of Cadets, Command Sergeant Major Kenneth Killingsworth, the Dean of the Academic Board, Brigadier General Cindy Jebb, the Director of Intercollegiate Athletics, Mr. Mike Buddy. Please remain standing for this evening's invocation to be delivered by Cadet George Madden, and remain standing for this evening's toast.
Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to join me in prayer if you so choose. Dear God, if this last year has taught us anything, it is that nothing is promised but this moment. So God, thank you for this moment. Thank you for the relationships built and the challenges overcome. Thank you for friends, family, and loved ones who enable us to get to this moment. Thank you for these next 2 months and your perfect plan that extends long after that. Help us be genuine in our love and delight in honoring each other. God, bless this wonderful meal in the hands that prepared it. Help us find you in the great days and the mundane, and bring you glory in it all. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please charge your glasses for this evening's toast.
Ladies and gentlemen, I propose a toast to the President of the United States.
I propose a toast to the United States Army.
I propose a toast to the United States Military Academy.
I propose a toast to our guests.
Ladies and gentlemen, please ensure your glasses are charged with water for the fallen comrade toast.
As you enter the dining room this evening, you have noticed a small table in place of honor. It is set for one military member to represent each of the military services. This table is our way of recognizing the members of a profession of arms who are absent in our midst. The table is small, symbolizing the frailty of a prisoner alone against their oppressors. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their motives and answering our nation's call to arms. The chair is empty. They are missing. The napkin is black, the American color for mourning. A single red rose reminds us of the hearts of our loved ones. It is tied with a yellow ribbon to symbolizing the everlasting hope for a joyous reunion with those yet accounted for. The lone candle flame represents an eternal flame for their sacrifices. The slice of lemon on the bread plate reminds us of their bitter fate. There is also salt, symbolic of the tears endured by the missing and their loved ones. The wine glass is inverted. Our distinguished comrades cannot toast with us tonight or join in our festivities. Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we solemnly toast, please remain silent. To our comrades killed in action, missing in action, and prisoners of war.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the fallen comrade observance. Please be seated and enjoy your meals. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Following your meal, please don your masks. At this time, please welcome our class president, Cadet Katarina Christensen.
Thank you, Zach. Command Sergeant Major Crosby and Mrs. Crosby, General Williams, Command Sergeant Major Coffey, General Buzzard, Command Sergeant Major Killingsworth, General Jeb, Mr. Buddy, distinguished guests, and the class of 2021. Good evening, and welcome to this year's 100th night celebration. With less than 100 days left at the Academy, our time at West Point is coming to a close. In stories and in life, the best endings resonate because they echo a word, phrase, or an image from earlier in the story, which prompts the reader to think back to that reference and speculate on a deeper meaning. In the last 100 days of our story at West Point, the lessons we learned in our first 100 days come back to echo and inspire the way ahead. I am sure that all of us remember our day as if it were yesterday, waking up early that morning, packing the one bag we got to bring with us, getting in the car, and driving the 7 curvy miles around Storm King Mountain. We all felt anxious as we entered Thayer Gate to join the long, great line as a member of one of our country's greatest institutions. For those of you that might remember, there was a short time during Beast in India Company where our TAC officer at the time showed us a short video. It was a TED Talk by Drew Dudley. I hope that the lessons from this will guide our way forward for the remainder of our story. In the talk, Dudley tells the story of an interaction he had with a freshman girl who was waiting in line with her parents for class registration. The young woman was filled with apprehension and doubts about her future at the university. She was at the point of turning to her parents and calling off her plans of attending school altogether when Dudley entered her life. Dudley was carrying lollipops and passing them out to help spread awareness about a charity he was supporting. When he came to the nervous girl in line, he looked at her, turned to the guy in front of her and said, "You need to give a lollipop to this beautiful woman next to you." The guy turned deep red, took the lollipop, and begrudgingly held it out for the young woman to take. Dudley made a few humorous remarks. Everyone in the line fell into laughter, even the nervous freshman student. At that moment, the young woman says her life was forever changed. Surprisingly, she said she had this overwhelming sense that everything was going to be okay. 4 years after that humorous moment, the now graduated woman told Dudley how greatly he had impacted her life because of that single moment. To heighten the sweetness of the story, she is marrying the guy who handed her the lollipop. Now here's the truly funny part. Dudley has no recollection about this day. This interaction was a life-altering moment for this young woman. She made a monumental decision to continue with college, and she met the love of her life, the man that she would one day marry, because of a moment that lasted less than a minute. This inspired Dudley so much that he has now made it his life's mission to tell this story, to tell about his lollipop moment. He made a huge, life-changing impact on someone, and yet he remembers nothing about it. My question for you today is, have you ever had a lollipop moment? Has someone here impacted your life so greatly, but you haven't mustered up the words to say so? So often here we associate leaders with individuals that have grandiose titles, large offices, and make world-changing decisions every day. But true leadership is seen most clearly in the small moments throughout the day. It is about behaving in a way that makes the life of another person better than before you arrived. It is about creating lollipop moments and letting people know when those lollipop moments happen. It's certainly eye-opening and transformative to think that we may have made the biggest impact on an individual and may not even know it. It is always important to recognize when a story is near its end. Closing circles, shutting doors, finishing chapters. It doesn't matter what we call it. What matters is that we leave in the past those moments in life that are over and prepare for the moments to come. I would encourage all of us in every moment of our next 100 days to remember that words are powerful and that the best part about West Point, the best part about our class, is that people have these lollipop moments every day, sometimes not even knowing their impact. As our last few months turn into weeks, to days, and to hours, I would ask that we remember that all too often we let those moments slip by, and that we should stop to tell those who have impacted our lives how much they mean to us, and to always remember that even the smallest of interactions can change the course of someone else's life. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, it is my honor to introduce our guest speaker for tonight, Command Sgt. Major Michael A. Crosby. Command Sgt. Major Crosby entered the United States Army in August 1988 and has served in numerous leadership positions at every echelon from Section Sergeant to Division Command Sgt. Major. Sgt. Major Crosby attended the Army Strategic Leader Development Program, Executive Leaders Course, and the Keystone Leaders Course. Sgt. Major Crosby has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from American Military University and an MBA in human resources management from Trident University. Sgt. Major Crosby's awards and decorations include, but are not limited to, the Defense Superior Service Medal, Legion of Merit, Bronze Star, Meritorious Service Medal, Army Commendation Medal, and many others. Sgt. Major Crosby is a recipient of the Roy Wilkins Award, Armor Association's Honorable Order of St. George, Ancient Order of St. Barbara, and is a member of the Force Com Sergeant Audie Murphy Club. Please join me in welcoming our guest speaker, Command Sgt. Major Michael A. Crosby.
So how's everybody doing this evening? As I was coming in, I found it's called an alcohol card. I won't disclose the name on it. I will give it to the Cadet Christensen and we'll solve it later. But the good part is nothing broke tonight. So I was thinking I would hear broken glass, broken plate. I know that you have a tradition of breaking things. But it's all in good company. I promise you, I just want to set the dinner table before we begin. And months and weeks from now, as you transition from the academy, you're going to be in charge of someone's son and or daughter, their health, welfare, and morale. Just think about that for about 2 seconds. Cadet Christensen, thank you for the kind introduction. Really appreciate that. It's an honor and opportunity to speak to this distinguished group of future leaders. Lieutenant General Williams, Command Sgt. Major Coffee, distinguished guests, faculty, and our family members that are out there in virtual land who are also participating, and especially the West Point class of 2021. I am humbled by the opportunity to speak with you today as you approach the culmination of 4 years of hard work and dedicated duty to become servants, officers to this great nation. What an amazing accomplishment as you sprint toward the final days of becoming second lieutenants and the dawn of the next phase, transition into leaders, mentors, and professionals charged with taking the Army into the future. The world has changed in ways we never could imagine. I joined the Army before the fall of the Berlin Wall, and during my career, we've seen the end of the Cold War with the fall of the former Soviet Union, a generation-defining event on September 11, 2001, a global war on terror, and a growing competition from potential adversaries across a spectrum of economic and security areas globally. And in just the last year, the global coronavirus pandemic has killed over 500,000 Americans, more than World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War combined, and has brought a new normal to the entire globe. Throughout it all, our Army has stayed strong, resilient, and adaptive to the ever-changing environment, and at home and abroad. This is in no small measure due to the strength, the character, resiliency, and leadership of our people. And you will be at the forefront of that effort very soon. You've proven your mettle and your resilience in this last year. No one could have imagined the changing environment we're part of today. You, the class of 2021, have demonstrated the agility and the resourcefulness and managed to adapt to the uncertain future. Leading the Corps of Cadets in a COVID era is no small feat. You not only persevered through an uncertain summer training cycle in 2020, you led the Corps through a rigorous academic year, showcasing your ability to persevere in unprecedented times. You all entered the Army shaped by last year's circumstances, and you will undoubtedly continue to set the pace to meet our future challenges. Until the battle is won, your class motto exemplifies the commitment and resilience to success and victory in all that you have done. You've been preparing for this milestone since the first day you walked onto the hallowed grounds of West Point and marched on the plane less than 12 hours later and assimilated into one of our country's most enduring traditions, becoming part of the Long Gray Line. Just as none of you will forget your art-day indoctrination, so too will you remember your upcoming graduation. You are trained and ready and prepared to become leaders of your generation, servants to our nation, and powerful examples of character that the world will observe. I was informed that your 509th guest speaker last year subsequently went on to become our now Secretary of Defense. I would try to live up to his stature and hopefully to impart some wisdom from my 32 years experience in the Army, from the days as enlisting as a young private in the late 1980s to my current role as a Command Sgt. Major of Army Futures Command. As Secretary Austin said to you last year, absolutely nothing, I mean nothing is more important than the strength of your character. We're expected to make tough decisions and sometimes involve the lives of young men and women in a moment of great adversity. As General MacArthur so famously stated, duty, honor, country. Those three hollow words reverently dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, and what you will be. As you become members of the Long Gray Line, you will carry West Point reputation with you as you fan out across the Army to assume the mantle of leadership. And your character will set the example for your soldiers, your peers, and your superiors alike. I expect many of you are wondering right now, what would it be like to lead a platoon of soldiers? What kind of leader will I be? And how will my non-commissioned officers treat me? You all have been exposed to officers and non-commissioned officers and soldiers throughout your 4 years at the academy. You're joining an exceptional and a professional Army whose success will depend on your leadership. I would like to take a few minutes to share my thoughts about the importance of your relationship with your soldiers, your non-commissioned officers, their families, and of course, your peers. As I mentioned earlier, I joined the Army in the late 1980s, shortly before Desert Shield and Desert Storm and the first Gulf War. To this day, I remember my first platoon leader, Lieutenant Bob Langle, for his leadership, his empathy, and his relationship with every member of the platoon. We were heading off to war, and Lieutenant Langle took the moment to pen a letter to my mom, reassuring her that the business and responsibility of taking care of our soldiers was his top priority. And the importance could not be underscored as the nation prepared for conflict. My mother never forgot those words and the demonstrated care that he extended beyond just the boots on the ground. But the responsibility given to our leaders, and that's you, to care for our most precious commodity, our soldiers, our nation's sons and daughters. As I speak to you some 32 years later, I'm reminded how powerful and impactful my first platoon leader was to our platoon. The soldiers he touched, the family members, and my teammates. To this day, this very day, I am still in touch with now Mr. Langle. And as I continue my military career, you have an opportunity to make this kind of impact on those you are about to lead. He had a great relationship with his peers before, during, and after combat operations. At the time, Lieutenant Mike Salado, class of 1989, Lieutenant Brian Gephardt, class of 1990, both are graduates of West Point. They was like brothers. They encouraged, challenged, and questioned one another. They learned their profession together. To this day, he counts them both among the closest friends he ever had. As you embark on your leadership journey, one of your most important relationships as a new lieutenant will be with your platoon sergeant. Your trust in each other will be a key ingredient to your success. Remember always that you are the leader, and your non-commissioned officer will be committed to ensuring your success as a team. Never forget that you're in charge, but that guidance, listening, and teamwork goes both ways. As their leader, your men and women will look to you to make hard and sometimes very difficult decisions. Not always the most popular, but always the right decision. To stand up for what is right in support of the mission, your soldiers, and your unit. And in return, your soldiers will take care of you and the mission. You are members of a special community, and that community is our Army family, in which the nation invests so much to educate and train to serve as defenders of freedom of this great nation. You will enter an Army modernizing for the future, one that shapes the future environment to one that's where we're technologically advanced, faster, more precise, and more agile to defeat any potential adversary on any battlefield. Modernization underpins the future. As you enter the ranks, your ideas, initiatives, and practical experience will be part of a continued improvement for our soldiers. The vast majority of you have chosen branches that are an integral part of Army modernization. Branches and specialties that continue to shape and adapt to the growing complexity of multi-domain operations and information overload. This includes traditional combat arms branches, plus cyber, military intelligence, and the Signal Corps. It is in this space that the four Army commands intersect, bringing together the Army modernization efforts. It will shape and define our future. And it is our people who are the linchpin and foundation that will adapt and evolve our modernization efforts through your personal experiences. As such, I want to highlight our soldiers and our talent. There's no other effort our Army is more important than our people. And it is the Army's #1 priority at every level. As you lead your soldiers and you lead your platoon into the future, remember that you're setting an example by your actions, your values, and your commitment. Your soldiers will feed off your character and the power of your example. Understanding your empathy and your professionalism will make your soldiers better educated, better trained, and ultimately better leaders, making you all more effective. Your soldiers will come from all walks of life, And with your training and leadership, you will make them a ready force prepared to deter any potential adversary when called upon to fight and win our nation's wars. Your class diversity highlights one of our greatest strengths. There's over 1,000 of you representing a cross-section of our nation that exemplifies who you are. What makes us so strong, the fabrics that bind us all together as you embark on this incredibly important milestone to becoming commissioned officers in our Army. You represent every state and background from coast to coast. 35% of the class represents one or more of the many minorities that make up our nation. 25% of you are women, to include both your class president and your brigade first captain. And to highlight the importance we attach to our expanding international partnerships, 12 partner nations also have representatives with whom you have a lifelong foundation relationship throughout your future careers. That's from a candidate pool that exceeded some 13,000 applicants when you first applied. As you enter our Army, you'll be part of a team that emphasizes your talent and depends on your skills and will cherish your leadership. You're part of an Army that embraces the people's first mission and entrusts you to internalize its spirits. Your diversity, regardless of race, gender, national origin, makes us Army strong. Class of 2021, congratulations on nearing completion of a remarkable 4 years. I have every confidence that you will assume the responsibility of leadership, character, and commitment to take our Army into the future. So that as a nation, we are ready and prepared to fight and win our future conflicts. Good luck to your continued pathway. Thank you all for your service and your commitment to this great nation. God bless the Army. God bless the United States of America. Until the battle is won, go Army, beat Navy. All right.
No, I can't promise you TSA is gonna like it, but you might have.
You're all right.
Oh goodness, you are so much. Sergeant Major Crosby, please accept this gift of a cadet saber as a token of our appreciation for your words here tonight at our 100th Night Banquet. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and share glasses are charged for the final toast. Ladies and gentlemen, I propose a toast to the class of 2021. Before we conclude this evening's festivities, there are several people and organizations the class would like to thank for making this evening possible. We ask that you please hold your applause to the end. Thank you to our class advisor, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Hartsock, and to our class officers in charge, Captain Nadej Benoit and Captain James Beebe, for their hard work and dedication to the class of 2021. A special thank you to the VIOS team and the Director of Cadet Activities and the Cadet Hostess Office who have put in countless hours to ensure that this weekend would run smoothly. Finally, a big thank you to the many organizations that have made this evening a success. Specifically, we'd like to recognize the mess hall staff for all their hard work in preparing and serving tonight's excellent meal. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending our 100 Night Banquet. This concludes the formal portion of the evening. We look forward to seeing you all tomorrow at the performance of our 100 Night show. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the evening.